You've started your brand, come up with a brand concept, identified your core, identified the solution that you're trying to solve, and now the difficult part starts. You look to make sales. This is a challenge that so many entrepreneurs face. On today's episode, I'm going to be giving you guys a beginner's crash course. Let's get right into it. This is going to be quite a technical episode, so take out your notebook, take down notes, or just watch this video over and over because I'm about to share some magic with you. We'll look at marketing in two core formats. You have your organic content marketing and you have your paid marketing. When it comes to organic content marketing, this is going to be all of the content that you create in-house to actively create and build your community. The first thing is to understand, where does your customer avatar live? Where do they typically tend to see products that they end up making a purchase? By identifying your customer avatar, you will know where you should be posting your content. There's no point in posting content on Facebook consistently and creating and generating a Facebook community if most of your customers are going to be of a younger demographic, and that's not going to be where they spend their time. At the same time, it may not make sense to focus very heavily on Reddit forums. Your market tends to be the type of person that would never spend their time on such forums. So identify where your customer spends their time. Second thing, once you've identified the platforms that you should be posting on, now it's going to come down to creating a consistent posting schedule. Why am I saying posting schedule first and foremost before going to content ideas? Creating a posting schedule is the number one key way to maintain consistency across your posting. I used to be of the thought that if I just create the perfect form of content, that immediately I'll just get this immediate uptick in sales, and not realizing that in marketing, you play the long game. You play the consistency game. You play the game where you are consistently reminding potential customers a decision from potentially not knowing you all the way to knowing you. Posting on a regular schedule is going to be important. I know this firsthand because in my own company, this is what I've implemented. One of the tools that I like to use is Instagram's native scheduling app, which you can go directly through the application to do. I know Facebook has a version, I know Pinterest has a version, a lot of the platforms have a version. The issue with that is you will have to go app by app and take care of that. There are other mega apps that curate or sort of consolidate all of your posting platforms in one area, sort of like a dashboard that you can go and distribute out to different softwares or different applications. A great one that I use regularly is called later.com. So by taking the hard work out of actually creating what is known as a content calendar, planning your posts out at least 2 weeks to a month in advance, you're going to be putting yourself in prime position to curating and having a consistent flow of content. Then it comes down to what type of content should I be posting as a fashion brand. As a fashion brand, you have a variety of different types of posts. What I like to say, you have your polished product posts. These are going to be your high-end videos. These are going to be your model photography. The issue with this is it can be quite expensive to create this on a day-to-day basis. And also it can get tedious and time-consuming, or it can get laborsome for your customers to engage with that. So vary up your post. You have your polished product post. Then you have your community building post, whether it's tips and tricks, whether it's a day in the life. This is what is known as a community building post. Things that add value, things that either entertain, either that educate, or that they motivate. Those three types of content help you to build your community. Show people behind the scenes, show them what it's like to be in your shoes. And this is what helps to maintain and to build that sort of authentic base for the brand. So what I like to do is I like to look at my long form, my medium form, and my short form content. My long form content typically belongs on YouTube. This is the content that's going to be educational. If you get people watching your long form YouTube videos, well, then you can pretty much go anywhere with that. And then you have your medium form. These are going to be things like your reels. Create content here that is very engaging in the beginning, but at the same time is short enough to maintain interest throughout. And then the last thing is going to be your short form. This is the most difficult, but the most accessible to most people, because your short form content typically ranges between 5 to 15 seconds long. There's so many different types of short form pieces that you can do, especially in the fashion space. So experiment with it. Look at other creators that are in your space, that are creating, that are having the time of their lives, making content for their brands and for their vision as an entrepreneur. This is your organic content. When it comes to your paid marketing, this is going to be anything that is a paid advertising campaign. This is where gurus sell you courses that are worth thousands of dollars to get you to say, this is the perfect advertising campaign. In short, keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. Number one, make it known. Number two, generate a need. Number three, convert that need into a sale. That's it. If you can keep it that simple, then you can sort of fine tune how you create any piece of content for your campaigns. Let's just say we're creating an Instagram ad. The number one way to generate a campaign is to understand your audience, the target audience for the specific ad. Most people think that the more specific that you get, the better. But at the same time, the more specific that you get, wrong type of customer that you might get. So the goal here is to find the perfect balance between being specific enough to funnel in a nice demographic of customer, but not being overly specific where your ad is not run to anyone and it's not shown to anyone. The best way to do this might be to have a look-alike audience. And the way that you can get a lookalike audience in a very simple way is to look at other companies, what type of audience they have. This can be as simple as going on their comment section, looking at different platforms. Also, when you are starting off, my recommendation is to focus on 1 to 2 core platforms for running your ads on. Chances are you have a limited budget, so spreading yourself too thin and spending $100 here, $200 here, $300 here, you'll get frustrated because you will never build up enough traction to A/B test different platforms or different campaigns on a platform to see what works and what doesn't work. Chances are the first 2, 3, 4, 10 ads that you might run may fail horribly. They may generate a 0 return on investment if you don't know what you're doing. And if you take those first 5 failures and you multiply them across different platforms, you'll end up spending thousands of dollars with little to show for it. So this is why I get back to the main point that I said, know where your audience lives, know where they're going to be engaging with your content, and create campaigns for those platforms. Then it comes down to, once you have a lookalike audience, create your creative. Your creative is basically a series of 2 things. It's the visual that you're showing for the product or the actual campaign, and it is the text that sort of gives context and creates a need and actually leads customers to make a purchase. You need to have a perfect combination of both of those. And your campaign or each creative that you create should do one or hopefully all of these 3 core things. Number 1, it should generate awareness about your product and your brand. 2, it should create and cultivate a need in the customer. 3, it should inform them to make a purchase. A great creative will do all 3. It will create awareness, and it'll do this typically by the visual that you add alongside it, whether it's a video, whether it's an animation. It'll generate a need. So through the text, through the visuals, you'll sort of identify to your customer what the need is. Oh, are you suffering from this? Then try this. And then 3, it'll have the offer plus where you go to get that offer. So buy our joggers today, 10% off plus free gift plus free shipping exclusively for you. Click the link here and then done. So that is the 3-tiered part to creating creative. I'm simplifying it down as much as I can. But as a starting point, this is 99% better information than anyone will be able to give you on the market. And it's 99% better than just trying everything and anything and failing at everything. Then it comes down to, once you have your campaigns, track your campaigns. See how your campaigns are performing. One of the biggest things that I see entrepreneurs do is, they say, I'm spending so much money and I'm getting clicks, right? I'm getting 5 cents a click. I'm getting 6 cents a click. That's great. That means that your creatives are working. But when they get onto my website, they're not converting. I'm having, 100 people landing on my website or 500 people, and I'm only getting 1 sale, right? If it's 500 to 1, you're looking here at like a 0.2% or some insanely low conversion rate, which is 0.2%, which is pretty bad. A standard in the industry is going to be around 1 to 3 to 4%. Something around 3 to 5% is a great conversion rate. Something between a 1 to 2% is a mediocre. Anything below 1% is horrible. So then that tells you that your website or your product offering or how you're communicating your products is going to be the issue. So let's look at how to optimize your website. Number 1, I would say, install some form of screen recorder into your website. So something that allows you to see how your customers are engaging with your website and where they are dropping off. A good one that we typically use is called Hotjar. Hotjar allows you to see what your customers are doing on the website and where they are dropping off. So if you see most of your customers are landing on your homepage and they're only spending 5-10 seconds, they're scrolling down a little bit and then they're logging off your website. That means your homepage is trash. It is unclear what your brand does, what it offers, what your products are. There's just zero cohesion. So that means you need to fix your homepage. There can be so many reasons. You can figure out each choke point along the list, but understanding where your customers are suffering on your website allows you to optimize the website in order to make your conversions better and better. This is your paid advertising sort of summary. And to kind of recap everything, when it comes down to marketing, keep it simple. Create awareness for the product, generate a need, and convert that customer. You do that through 2 key forms, which is organic marketing and your paid advertising. Focus your efforts, create consistency in your content, and have a plan a month in advance, and watch your sales skyrocket. You might think that this is such a simple formula. The challenge here, or the truth, is that so few people are actually doing the right things. When it comes down to it, it's so difficult for people to follow through. So by virtue of just following through, taking this formula and implementing it step by step, you will be ahead of 99% of people that have already made it to the position where they have something to sell, which is so few people. You are putting yourself ahead of 99% of people, of 99% of people. So congratulations, you have just unlocked what I consider to be one of the most effective secrets that I personally carry into my business to sell and to work with thousands of brands all over the world. And it served me tremendously well in the last 7 years, and all of the customers and clients that I've worked with, startup brands alike, established brands alike, we have been able to skyrocket their sales. We've been able to help them to have strong and effective marketing and launch campaigns. If you're interested in speaking with me directly, then check the link in the description. I have very limited consultation slots, but I do have a couple open between this week and next week. So check the link in the description and we can hop on that call. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.